Have you ever done a boulder challenge that was so intense you dislocated one of your ribs? Well, I have, and it was great. And I don't want you sitting there thinking like, oh, this is a really dangerous challenge, you know, it can cause bodily harm. There's nothing like that. The dislocation of the rib was actually the punishment for failing a relatively safe challenge. Now, the way that this challenge works is you go to a gym that you don't climb at very often, and you find 2 boulder problems for every grade. And if you can't send them, you have to hurt yourself. So I decided to go to my local gym to try out the new challenge that I had just made up. The first grade at this gym that I climbed was the red, which is just VB, easiest there is. I did the first one, and I got a little ahead of myself. I get really bored on these boulders. Completely forgot to do the other one. So that's my first strike. The next grade range was yellow, which is V0 through V2. Now, I'm gonna address this now because you're probably wondering why it's V0 through V2. It's a pretty broad grade range. This gym does all the grade ranges in sets of 3. Not only that, but they also overlap. So like it kind of a mess when you're climbing. Every boulder doesn't have to have the exact grade on it. There can be a little bit of wiggle room, but having no idea which boulders are harder than other boulders is kind of frustrating. Like, I don't want to go into a gym and not know if I'm about to climb a V3 or a V12. But we're gonna move on past yellow because it's V0 through V2. Nobody gives a shit about that grade range. So we're gonna move on to green, V1 through V3. Now after green, we moved on to the white boulders, which is V2 through V4. And this gym has a lot of slabs, so even something this low of a grade range can be really tricky because slab is just, I mean, awful, really. Now, I was torn on whether or not I should count this boulder because I did fall at the end, which should be a strike, but I did try really hard, you know? And, you know, sometimes, even in rock climbing, trying is worth more than succeeding. So I decided to leave this one to the judges to determine whether or not this was a send or a strike.
Their fate hangs on the thumb of our final judge. Thumbs up!
Now that I had completely unbiased approval that my send did in fact count, I was ready to move on to the blue boulders, which were V3 through V5. The first one was very, very easy. It was one of the easier boulders I did all day. I'm guessing it was one of the V3s in the V3 through 5, but this also goes to prove my point of why having 3 grades in one range is really annoying because I went on to do this boulder afterward, which was significantly more difficult. Now, it is obvious I got a little scared on this one, right? I definitely should have finished this. I definitely could have pulled and reached to the top, but you have to understand these walls are like 3 or 4 feet higher than the walls at my gym that I'm used to. These are like as tall as you can make bouldering walls. Probably, I guess. I don't know what the rule is. But I wasn't about to let fear get me another strike. Now, that doesn't mean I wasn't gonna let fear stop me from sending the problem. I absolutely let fear stop me from sending the problem. I just picked a different boulder to do. Now, it would be underselling it to say that this blue boulder pissed me off. I had a really good time climbing it, loved the way it climbed, just, cruised right up it. But the finish of the boulder was extremely hard to hold, like very, very hard to hold. But because I'm a professional, I didn't say or do anything that would let anyone in the gym know that I had a low opinion of this boulder. My ass. At this point, I accepted that I was just gonna take the strike for blue and move on to the next color, which was orange, V6 through V8.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Still tough, but yeah.
No, that's way better though. Okay, that's perfect. There it is. Well, that's gross. After that, it's pretty chill. You can almost want everything off that top one.
Yeah, that kid's needs a legal check. And I don't think Justin beating him out by like 1 by just a tie.
That's a really cool one.
Now, I was pretty excited at this point. I was only 1 grade away from finishing the challenge, until I realized, which you probably have already realized, that orange was not the next color on the list. There was still black and purple that had to be finished. With only a few minutes left, I decided to hop on a purple boulder and try to get at least one more send before time ran out. It was at this point that I knew I had no choice but to dislocate my rib for failing the challenge. Now it may look like this was just a seemingly random accident that happened while doing a random boulder session at a gym near me. But what do you really believe? That I went for a climbing session that I was filming and happened to get injured while climbing? Or that I was doing a new and unique fun challenge where the punishment is extreme bodily harm? I'll leave that up to you.
Oh, goddamn. Yeah, so, update. Jesus Christ. I was gonna keep climbing because I wanted to finish the video, but there's just no way. I can barely breathe, so I think I'm gonna go to the hospital. I wasn't planning on going initially, but I don't really know what else to do at this point. What? I think I might have tension pneumothorax. I don't know what I did. Where did I go wrong?